And with us now to talk more about the debt and the economy is Dr. Stephen Skancke. He is the Chief Economic Advisor and the Wealth Management and Investment firm Keel Point, and he's also a former staffer in the Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan administrations. So we appreciate you being with us. How will all this debt affect our current economic recovery?
Well, it's actually a positive for the current economic recovery because what's needed most when the private sector is lagging is for fiscal stimulus supported by monetary stimulus, and that certainly is what the federal government is doing. The Congressional Budget Office estimates are for a 3.3 trillion deficit, which is an addition to the federal debt. By the end of September, and other estimates show that by the end of the calendar year, there will be another 1.2 trillion added to in federal deficit added to the federal debt. But right now, it's a boost that helps keep the economy recovering and certainly keeps stock markets soaring.
What is the longer term impact? All these numbers overwhelming to many people hearing them. What's the longer term impact?
Well, the longer term impact is that it tends to impede economic growth. The expected rate of annual economic growth will just be less as a result of this debt overhang that has to be dealt with. It becomes part of the federal budget because you have to pay interest on the debt. And although interest rates are very low right now, that isn't always the case, as we know. And it diverts resources from other productive use. The large debt also can contribute to inflationary pressures and inflationary expectations over time. When we get out of the economic recession that we're in and we reach full employment again, and the economy is doing quite well. That's just part of how that equation works.
So, Doctor, the stock market has been hitting record highs. Is Wall Street not concerned about the various potential problems for the economy, like the coronavirus, as well as the debt?
Well, the Wall Street is certainly concerned about the coronavirus, not so much about the debt. The debt issue is really more of a longer-term issue. The stock market is concerned about what's happening in the next 12 to 18 months. And right now, their eyes are, when will the recession end? When will earnings recover? And their expectation for earnings in 2021 is for record corporate earnings in 2021. And so that's part of what's driving it. They're paying attention to when will a vaccine to contain the virus be first available and then generally available. And they're also paying attention to what's the Federal Reserve doing, what role are they going to continue to play as the economy recovers, and will there be additional fiscal stimulus, which by definition will further add to the debt.
So is there any way that we can ever pay this debt down?
Well, certainly we can pay it down over time. But when we look back in the history of the U.S., we came out of World War II with a huge debt relative to the size of our economy. And just through economic growth, very robust economic growth in the 1950s, high labor productivity that contribute to rising standards of living allowed the repayment of the debt. And so the federal debt as a percentage of GDP was very low when we came to 1960. The policy of the government changed beginning in 61, believing that debt was a more positive contributor to economic growth, and so the debt was allowed to rise. We also saw it being paid down in the late 1990s when the economy was booming and federal expenditures were curtailed.
All right. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. We appreciate your insight, Dr. Stephen.
Great to be with you.